Designing and planning Exchange Server 2013. It is always important to make a proper design and a plan before to deploy any kind of server in the production area. My name is Harsh Changra, and in this particular video I'm going to focus on the very new product lineup within Exchange Server from Microsoft, that is Exchange Server 2013. In the first part, I'm going to talk about what's new in Exchange Server 2013 so that as an administrator or the beginners, you can actually compare the old features and the new features within the Exchange servers. In the next part, I'm going to talk about how you can design and a plan for the Exchange Server deployment for small, medium, or an enterprise organizations. In the last part, I'm going to talk about how you can deploy Exchange Server 2013 for the best practices and how you can use Exchange Server 2013, I mean all the features, for your own testing purpose. So guys, let's get started. Exchange Server 2013, what's new? In this particular part, I'm going to talk about what is Exchange Server and what are the new features within Exchange Server 2013. Exchange Server is a reliable messaging platform that reduces cost, increases productivity, and improves communication in the manner of business communication, especially via emails. Exchange Server actually enables small, medium-sized companies and enterprises to achieve greater reliability and improve performance by simplifying administration tasks such as calendaring, in which you can assign meetings and you can send meetings directly to the mates. Creating distribution list, which will allow you to manage your organization people properly. Sending email messages, now you can attach, you can deploy, you can add many of the things within the same email message. Automatic performing voicemail transcriptions. Actually, the voicemail is a part of Exchange Server right now. You can create a voicemails and you can directly send to your mates within Exchange Server 2013. Providing messaging delivery reports, you can get to know that when the message is delivered. If it is not delivered, what is the reason? By message headers, you can find out these all the informations. And archiving mailboxes, which is a very nice feature of Exchange Server 2013. Now guys, let's talk about Exchange Server 2013 new features. Exchange Server 2013's actually come up with tons of new features if you compare the old Exchange servers. Started with reduced cost by optimizing for next generation of hardware. It can support almost all the hardwares and of course upcoming hardwares as well. It is already optimized for that. Significantly reduced operational overhead for high availability. Now you can deploy your Exchange server within the clustered environment and you can improve your availability as well with the help of high availability feature within Exchange Server 2013. It will also decrease the amount of time spent managing your system while maintaining control. You can do it everything with a very easy administration portal. Everything is available in front of you and almost everything is done by Exchange Server. You just need to focus on few controls over there and you can adjust, you can assign security policies, everything you can do within the Exchange Server 2013 now. It will also automatically protect Exchange availability from surge in traffic. It can manage the traffic control automatically. Of course, cloud on your terms. That means you can also decide you want Exchange Server 2013 for your organization, means on-premise server, or you want to deploy this Exchange server with the cloud. Office 365 is a platform for the cloud that provided by Microsoft, and you can take your live on-premise server to the cloud directly without doing any other deployment. There's a tool called dir sync or DIR-sync. By using that, you can synchronize your account information or the password information directly to the cloud. After that, all the Exchange users can also access your Exchange server within the cloud as well, means on virtually on any device. It will also protect your email from malware and other kind of attacks. Of course, there are a lot of tons of other features are also available. If you want to know more about it, kindly follow the link. The first link is Microsoft link, which will allow you to get the detail about Exchange Server 2013, including the new features. If you want to directly get to know that what are the major part or major roles in Exchange Server 2013 available, I suggest you to follow the second link, which is called Microsoft blog. Here you can get all the major information of all the product with a small demonstration or the pictorial demonstration, I mean to say that. So guys, let's start with the designing part, and after that we are going to start with the deployment. Exchange Server 2013 Design and Plan. As I shared with you before, it is always important to make a proper design and a plan before to deploy any kind of server in the production environment. So for the best practices, I'm assuming and I already design and make a proper plan to deploy Exchange Server 2013 for you all guys. In my inception, my company name is O365 Partners. The location of my organization is in Wuxi, China, and I have 25 number of employees, and of course it is equivalent to 25 users. And my target is to design an Exchange Server 2013 for all these users. Before to get involved or go deep down in Exchange Server 2013 design and planning, I just want to share with you about audience. If you are watching this particular video, I'm already assuming that you are experienced network administrator. You have a proper knowledge of Windows Server 2012 or R2, or if you have Windows Server 2008, that is enough for me. And most important, I'm going to focus and I'm going to deploy a lot of things about Active Directory, which is called AD, certificate services, which will allow us to make a proper secure authentication or authorization based on certificates, and of course NAP. So these are the things you need to remember before to start with this video. And for beginners, definitely I will explain everything in detail. So guys, let's start and talk about this particular picture or the diagram. I already make it for you. It is a design which I'm going to use it for our own best practices purpose. I have a network. In that network, I create two Active Directory servers. One is primary Active Directory. Second is secondary Active Directory. Secondary Active Directory is nothing but a copy of the primary one. So you can say I make a redundancy network setup for Active Directory. The meaning is if primary Active Directory is down by any reason, everything is managed by secondary Active Directory services. Because I always wanted my network should work all the time. I don't want any kind of downtime in the manner of users access especially. Now these both the directory services is connected to the internal switch in the organization, and I'm using VLAN 1 for all. VLAN is called virtual LAN, and virtual LAN is the most common criteria for the network deployment. The use of VLAN is you can design based on VLAN. That means you can separate or design a broadcast network within the VLAN. Don't worry guys, I will share with you the detail about the VLAN in upcoming videos. You don't need to worry. Just imagine everything is connected with each other, everything is going properly without any issue. In the later practices, I'm also going to deploy VLAN for you guys so that you can understand the live scenarios when you join any organization. And definitely, I already have Exchange Server also in the same network. This Exchange Server is first a member server of Active Directory, and on this member server I'm going to install the mailbox role so that it will behave and it will allow users to send and receive the emails. We have certain other scenario as well, and I'm going to do it one by one in our upcoming video. So guys, let's start deploying Exchange Server 2013 in our network. Exchange Server 2013 lab setup. If you are trying to make a test lab for the best practices of Exchange Server 2013, I strongly recommend you all to follow these instructions. If you want a best practice lab for Exchange Server 2013, you must have 3 Windows Server 2008 or Windows Server 2012 operating system. On the first server, you need to install Active Directory and DNS together to make a domain controller. And after that, the fully qualified domain name will be dc.o365lab.com. DC is nothing but just the computer name, and o365lab.com is just a domain name. Once you do that, you need to go to the another server, and you have now 2 options. In the first part, you can create the additional domain controller that will allow you to make a redundancy in between Active Directory servers. But in my scenario, I'm going to make another server is just a member server. Later on, I'm going to use this member server for my certificate services or for my NAP or Network Access Protection server. In the final server, we are going to start and deploying Exchange Server 2013. But before to do that, you need to make this server as a member server of domain controller or the primary Active Directory server. Once you do it properly, you need to install and configure prerequisites. Once you do it properly, in the final step, we are going to start installing Exchange Server 2013 step by step. In the first place, we need to configure Active Directory on a server. Right now, this is fresh installed Windows Server 2012 server, and now we are going to install Active Directory and the DNS on this server to make a domain controller. How we can do that? First of all, we need to make sure and change the computer name as per your convenience. I already changed it to DC. Once you change it, your computer name, you have to go to the IP address settings and make sure you configure the right option. Right now I have 2 connections. One is connected with internet and one is LAN. Right now I'm going to configure and change my IP address as per my own convenience. For this particular setup, I already choose IP version 4, and right now the IP address I give to this machine is 10.100.100.1. Just for your information, I do not use subnetting concept. I am just going to use the default subnet mask for that. Once you change your IP address, just click on OK. And once it is done, just need to go to the Server Manager option. In the Server Manager, we need to install the role for Active Directory, and then later we need to promote it to become a domain controller. How we can achieve this task? First of all, in the configure this local server, we need to go to add roles and features. After that, there is one wizard will be open, and here on the before you begin option, there are few information. If you want to read, you can read. If you don't, just click next. Once you click next, we need to choose role based or feature based installation. After click on next, it will show you this kind of option. Here it is just trying to show right now you select a server from the server pool. Actually, Windows Server 2012 also allows you to configure domain controller and adding other roles and features on other servers as well. We will discuss about this later, but right now just choose the default option and just click next. Once you click next, here you need to choose the role. For Active Directory, we require Active Directory Domain Services role. Once you select that, a new window will pop up and here it required some additional feature need to be installed. So just click on add features and let it install properly. After that, just click on next. Do not change anything for right now. If you want or if you required any other feature need to be installed, you can select as per your requirement and then click next. Once you click next, here it will give you the brief introduction of Active Directory Domain Services role. If you want to read, it is good enough. If you don't, just click next. Here, before to click on install, make sure you choose restart the destination server automatically if required. Actually, during the Active Directory installation, Windows Server 2012 need to be restart for a few times. So it will be done automatically. So once you do that, just click yes here and then click on install. After you click on install, it will begin with the installation process for Active Directory Domain Services role. Once you finish with that, we need to move on next option to promote this machine to become a domain controller. So just wait to finish this wizard, and once it is finished, I will come back and I'll show you the remaining option. After the installation finish right now, as you can see on the screen, just click on close. Once you click on close, here you can see you have ADDS option. Just click on ADDS option. Once you click on that, click on more here on the right side. Once you click on more, here it will ask you post deployment configuration, and here on this side it will show you promote this server to a domain controller. Make sure you click on this option. Once you click on this option, here it will begin with Active Directory installation process. In this process, first of all, we are trying to add a new domain controller in a new forest. So in the deployment operation, you need to choose add a new forest, and you can give a name here. For example, I'm going to use o365 lab.com or .local. Again, it is up to you. So once you give your root domain name here, just click next. It will check via NetBIOS protocol. It will check the same name exists on the network or not. If it is not, it will allow you to move to the next step right now, as you can see. Or if the same name is available in the network, it will show you that kindly change your name, or it will also give you some suggestion, for example o365.01 or 1.com. As everything is set properly, everything is configured properly, you have to choose the right forest function level. If you have and you are sure that in your network you only have Windows Server 2012, I strongly recommend you to choose forest function level as a Windows Server 2012 and the domain function level also Windows Server 2012. We will discuss this option in detail later, but for right now, better choose this option and then give the password. The password will be minimum 7 character, and make sure it is the combination of alphabets, numerics and symbol. As you can see right now, maybe my password is not correct, so it do not allow me to choose a better option. So I'm going to choose it next. Right now the password is matched and it will show you the next option properly. So click next. On the next option, it will allow you to configure DNS option. As I mentioned before, if you have a separate DNS server, you have to configure in the primary DNS server configuration and put the IP address in the IPv4 settings. But if you do not have, so just click here, show more. In the show more, just click OK for the delegation for this DNS server cannot be created because the authoritative parent zone cannot be found. As we do not have any separate DNS server, I want this server should be react or behave like a DNS server. So once you click next, it will verify these settings using NetBIOS protocol, and once it is done, then it will share you the path where it will store the information of Active Directory, or in other sense you can say the database. So just wait to finish this part, and once it is finished, we will move to the next option. So as you can see, it is verified properly that this domain name is available. We can configure with this particular name. So just click next. Now it will share with you the database location, log file location, and sys volume folder. So everything is done and everything is good to go. So kindly do not change the location in a default test environment. So just click next. It will give you some review option that if you want to check what you just did, you can check it. And also it will allow you to save or show you the script that it will use for the Active Directory installation. If you can save this list as a PowerShell script, you can use it later, or you can change the settings as per your own requirement, and it will be easy for you to configure Active Directory on a server core. Server core is another kind of operating system within Windows Server 2012 which do not have GUI interface or graphical interface. In the character level interface, it will just allow you to store the files or other kind of information, and once it is stored, you need to type the commands to fulfill all the requirement for the server. But right now, just as a default option, leave this part. Just click next to begin with the prerequisites check that everything is okay to install Active Directory on this machine or not. And once it is verified that this particular server, which is without Active Directory right now, everything is good on this server, then it will allow us to click next and Active Directory installation begins immediately. So right now the all prerequisite checks passed successfully. Now we can click on install to begin with Active Directory installation. So click on install. The Active Directory will start installing right away. And just want to share with you guys, once the Active Directory will be finished, it will ask you to restart, or maybe it will do it automatically as we choose the option before. So once the machine restarts, after that your Active Directory is installed properly and you are ready to move to the next option. After installation of Active Directory, we need to move on the next step, that is creating and configure member server, so that we can install SharePoint server, Exchange server, and Link server on that. But before to begin with the installation and configuration of member server, we need to verify few things on Active Directory server. So first of all, we need to verify the domain name and computer name is configured properly and everything is set properly. As you can see on my computer name, the name is DC. Full computer name, which is called FQDN, is dc.o365lab.com, and my domain name is o365lab.com. So everything is perfect on this server. The next thing we need to check is about IP address. As I mentioned before, I configured DNS on the same server, so you need to verify this setting properly on Active Directory server. For that, you need to go to Internet Protocol version 4, click Properties, and here you have to make sure the preferred DNS server should be 10.100.100.1, the same the IP address like you have on Active Directory server. Is because I do not have separated DNS server. I configured this server as an Active Directory server as well as DNS server. Because once you install and restart your machine after Active Directory installation, it will turn into 127.0.0.1. So you have to make sure, because later on we have to use this preferred DNS server IP address for the configuration of member server. So once you verify this, click OK, close here, and close the IP address settings. Now just for the final verification, we need to go to the server manager and we need to make sure we have installed two different roles. One is ADDS. On the ADDS, you can find few more information on the right side in the action pane. I will discuss about this pane and these details later, but for right now, everything is okay on this server, and I only configured Active Directory Domain Services role on the machine. Just to make sure my DNS server is configured properly, once you click on DNS, here you can find the information of DNS server, and you can also check what I configured in the services, is it running or not. Once you verify that everything is okay on the server, we need to move on to another server and start configuring member server configuration. So right now, this is my another machine. In the another machine, the first step, I need to configure the IP address. So for that, I just need to go to the network settings. In the network settings, I need to go to the LAN. In the LAN, go to the properties, then select Internet Protocol version 4 and properties. So first thing, you need to make sure in the preferred DNS server you have to give the IP address of the DNS server, or indirectly you can say the IP address of Active Directory. Because right now I configured Active Directory and DNS server on the same machine, so you can give only one IP address. But in your organization, if you have separated DNS server, so in the preferred DNS server you have to give the IP address of the DNS, and if you have any other alternate DNS server as well, you can give it here. If you have multiple DNS server in your own network or in your own environment, you can click on Advanced, go to DNS, and you can add multiple DNS addresses here in this screen. So just after verification that I configure preferred DNS server properly, just click OK, close. After that, we need to go to the server info option within the settings. Click on server info. In the server info, I just want to share with you right now my computer name is X1, which resembles Exchange Server 1. With the same setting, you have to configure SharePoint and link server as well. The settings are absolutely same, only you just need to change the computer name here. So click on change settings, then go to change, and here to make a member server you need to go to the domain option and type the domain information, or you can say that the name of the domain. So I already configure o365lab.com. Once you type your domain name here, just click OK. It will ask you the username and the password, or in other sense, credentials. Make sure you type the right credentials. Right now I am using administrator, the by default user who have all the permission to make any changes in the server. But this is a test environment. This is fine with me. But if you are in real environment, the best practice is to make a separate user and to assign permission accordingly. Like if you want to assign a user to install and change the roles, you have to add that particular group into the user member configuration. So right now I'm going to go with the default setting. I'm not going to make any changes here. Just click OK. Once you click OK, if my credential is perfect, it will show you this screen. Welcome to o365lab.com domain. Click OK, OK, close, and it will ask you to restart the server. So after restart, you are able to, or you configured your member server properly. Now you are ready to begin with the installation and check the prerequisite for Exchange server, SharePoint server, and Link server. So I click here, restart now. Once your member server restarts, you need to log in into the administrator account of o365lab.com. How you can do that? Because guys, by default, as you can see on the screen, it will allow you to log in with EX1 administrator, which is the local one. But make sure if you want to install SharePoint server, Link server, and Exchange server, you have to log in as an administrator account of o365lab.com domain. How you can achieve that? So click here on the back option, then select other users. In the other user, by default, it will show you the o365 lab. Once you do that, or also you can type o365lab.com/administrator and make sure you type the proper and the right credential to log in. Once you type the credential properly, just click here, submit, and automatically it will log in with the administrator account and with the administrator privileges. Once it is logged in the server, you are allowed to configure further options. So here, after the installation, we are ready with the member server and everything is ready to go to check the prerequisite for Exchange server, SharePoint server, and Link server 2013. Exchange server 2013 scenarios. Guys, I have almost 7 years of experience in Exchange server scenarios and these kind of network setups. And I face a lot of issues in these all years. I'm just trying to make you aware that before to manage these kind of scenarios, you must have a strong knowledge of Exchange server and related features. For example, in your organization, if you have Exchange server 2003, or maybe you have Exchange server 2007, or may you have Exchange server 2010. First of all, if the company is ready to migrate from older Exchange server versions to the newer version, that is Exchange server 2013, you should know how to migrate all the information, including mailbox, security policies, and other things related to Exchange server. Once you do it properly, you have to test out everything, that everything is good, every user is able to access the resources or not. So there are many other things you need to manage within the Exchange server. Don't worry guys, I will make a dedicated video, or you can say 1 or 2 videos, especially in the coexistence scenario, so that your mind will be open and you will easily understand that if you meet this kind of scenario, how you can manage these things. Exchange server 2013 certifications. If you are interested to become a messaging certified, or you can say MCSE messaging certified, so it will help you, this particular flow help you to achieve your target. If you want to be a messaging certified, messaging is related to Exchange server, you must have Windows Server 2012 certification, that is 7410, 7411, and 7412. Once you have these all, you become MCSA, or Microsoft Certified Solutions Associate. Once you become that, now you are allowed, or you are authorized to give the certification for Exchange Server 2013. Once you clear 7341 and 342, you become the expert in messaging. If you want more details, kindly follow the link for the details, and of course you will get more information that how you can give the certification, which organization is responsible for to take the examination, and what is the cost for per exam. Actually, it differs according to the geographical scenarios. If you are in India, the cost is different. If you are in US, the cost is different. If you are in China or Hong Kong, the cost is different. So you have to contact these organizations to get more detail about the price of the exam. Thank you so much for watching this particular video, guys. I'm going to see you in the next video, and we will start deploying Exchange Server 2013 step by step. Thank you so much. Have a nice time ahead.